We got another case to close, and it's that case of Thymesia. Another action RPG, another Souls-like, another game that tried to defy the odds and not fall by the wayside. This is a late review. I'm getting back to it. I hadn't got it out yet, and I'm sorry. But we're gonna review the game Thymesia, right? I played it when it first came out, which was back in August 15th, 2022. It was published by Team 17, and it was developed by the Overborder Studio. Okay, so let's get to the basics of this game. Those are the details we know of when it came out. Now let's talk about the details of the game. First detail I like to talk about is combat. Competing in the action RPG genre, combat has to feel smooth and seamless, and it does. It does in this game. Combat was really nice in this game. In Thymesia, I would give combat a 9 out of 10. There was a couple of things that they could have did a little better, but all in all, combat was pretty good. Combat was fairly smooth. It was beyond fairly smooth. It was actually very smooth. Parrying system was really nice. There was two ways you had to defeat your enemies. You had to melee them to death, and after meleeing them to death, they would have a second health bar that you would have to use the claw. I forgot what they called it because it's been a while, but it was a claw attack, and you would do boom boom, and you hit them with that, and as you would hit them with that, it would pull away their second health bar, and then when you finally get them down to 0 health, you can then execute them Sekiro-like. It was really neat because your claw could manifest itself into multiple weapons depending on the enemies you fought. You could drain them of their weapons and then basically use the weapon that they had, but in this energy, this plasma energy style, and use that to hit your enemies. And then you can permanently learn one, so you'd have it on multiple tasks or multiple buttons, you know, multiple hotkeys, and you could execute them at any given time when you had enough of the meter built up. Or it wasn't really a meter, it was more like a cooldown. Alright, so that's combat. Now let's get into the next thing. Story. Story, 2 out of 10. Trash. Story was trash, without a doubt. You only follow it through a couple of notes on the wall. It's unclear. It's not concise. You're playing as Corvus, a plague doctor who's forgot his memories. And you're talking to a little girl, for some reason, that's in this plague-ridden world, who's helping you navigate your memories like a psychologist. And the game is you trying to remember things. It's basically you remembering how many times you had to get your ass whipped into shape. And I can't say that that's interesting. I didn't like how it unveiled minimal cutscenes, no dialogue. Everything was red. But it's a short game, and you get through its story. The lore is hidden all throughout the world in these little notes that indicate what's going on. Again, it wasn't clear, it wasn't concise. Stories 2 out of 10 for me. Remember, combat's like a 9 out of 10. Stories 2 out of 10. Difficulty, that's not really a thing but when you talk about ARPG, Souls-like, you want to talk about the difficulty. It's difficult, but it's not breaking. It's not Sekiro, it's not Dark Souls, it's not Elden Ring. Unfortunately, this game came out post Elden Ring. Everything is trying to live up to the hype of Elden Ring. Thymesia, it didn't do it. It didn't live up to the hype. It wasn't bad. If you've never played a Souls-like game, it is a great game to get introduced into the genre because it's fairly simple, fairly lackluster, and you get through it. Adding to this difficulty sector, one of my issues with this game was enemy types. You fought the same enemies over and over and over again. I mean, each level, there was 3 levels, but it's it's a kingdom, and depending on the 3 levels you go to, or 4, it's like blue, red, green, right? and all your enemies, they have like these blue, red, or green crystals on the back, but they're the same enemy, just with a blue, red, or green crystal on their back, indicating that you're in the next map. So, all in all, this is a quick review for Thymesia. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Not with this one. It wasn't worth it. I see that a lot of people gave it a lot of praise because of the combat, which I did too. That's a 9 out of 10. But for story being a 2 out of 10, and for the difficulty in being a Souls-like game, the depth and the enemies bringing down the scope of the game, so that's what we should do here. We should define how we're gonna rank these games, and it's gonna be story, mechanics, and scope, right? So the mechanics being combat, the level up system, I didn't get into that, but it was very simple. It's mundane, no need to get into it. It's not super deep. It's about as mundane as the way I just got into it. I think you level up 1 of 5 things and it increases 1 of 5 things. It's that simple. So yes, scope, mechanics, and story 2 out of 10, mechanics 9 out of 10, scope 5 out of 10. I don't think that average brings us to what I'm going to average it at, but we're going to give this game a 7 out of 10. Thymesia gets a 7 out of 10. It isn't a must play, but if you're into the Souls genre, it's a fun game. It's also, if you've never played a Souls game, I would say play this before you play a Souls game. Now, thank you to coming here, getting the lowdown on this game. I'd appreciate it if y'all give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, leave a comment. I'm Detective Mr. Low, and I think this case is closed.